faithfully enslaved by a vengeful enchantment.
Alright. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. We survived the 13th. So, today's October 14th, 2025. That is Dagger Jagger by Castle Rat, one of my new favorite bands. I've actually used them as an intro multiple times because they're just fucking dope. And, knock on wood, they haven't copyrighted their shit, you know. I think they like the free publicity. They're like, wait, someone's using our music? You know. Because they're kind of like, they're a newer band and they're not huge, you know. They kind of have a cult following. So, occult. We're going to talk about the occult today. Yesterday. As far as the update, just been playing The Hobbit. I'm going to review it next. I did I beat Ghost Rider, did a game review on it yesterday. Now I'm currently playing The Hobbit. So, look forward to that if you're a fan of Blue Pill. I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below if you would like to donate. Helps the channel, helps pay for pens, papers, notebooks. So, as far as the update, just been working, playing video games. Life is good. I'd done an episode previously called I'm Going to Join Freemasonry. So go check that episode out. This is kind of a part 2 to that. So, to sum it up quickly, there's a dude that comes in with a Freemason ring and Freemason stickers on his truck. And I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, like, I got a bunch of family members who are Masons. I've always been curious. I would like to join. And he's like, I'll bring you an application. So, I seen him again. He didn't have the application. He's like, I didn't forget, you know. I was like, okay. So, yesterday I was sweeping the lot, and he pulls up and just walks straight up to me and hands me the application. And says, we meet every second Monday and every, I don't know, they meet twice a month for dinner. You can drop off the app. He said it's $101 for the application fee or whatever. I'm guessing that's paying for like uniforms and initiation and all that jazz. I'm guessing that's if you even get accepted. So, here's the application. If we have time, we'll go over it and kind of check it out. There you go. So, we didn't talk long. He just kind of handed it to me, told me when they meet. Sadly, it is weekdays. Yeah, petitions for the degrees or reinstatement to the Grand Lodge of Kentucky of Freemasonry. So, anyone who's kept up with the channel, and I know there's already going to be haters in the comments. That's why I told you to go check out that episode and go check out why I'm joining Freemasonry, even if I even do. Yeah, don't be ignorant. Go check the episode out and don't be lazy. I'm not going to rehash all that shit. But anyways, anytime I make a big decision in my life, I always go and do a reading in tarot. So I did a reading last night. I was like, should I fill out this application and go to one of the dinners and drop it off? And I do a yes or no method, which we will get into if we have time, We're hitting the books today. Let me get my reading glasses. And it's a 1-card pull. It's a yes or no. And I pulled the Tower, which is a major. There's major arcana and minor arcana. It's a major arcana. It's the original tarot deck, which is, I think, 20-something cards. It's actually smaller. The minor arcana were all added later. The original tarot, and there's some people who do it like the very original style of using just the major arcana, which is very concerning to me. It's a very spooky card to pull. And with the major arcana, if you're using the yes or no method, it can mean neither yes or no. It's simply, it could mean yes if you're willing to do the work. It could mean no if you're willing not to do the work. But where this is such a spooky card to pull for me and concerning, I was like, I might wait on this. I don't know. Because my thing is, I have the application. I mean, the lodge isn't going anywhere. I wasn't, like, straight up told, no, you can't join. You have to join now or not, you know. So, I mean, there's no pressure, but I don't know. Let's get into the meaning of the Tower. So there's what it looks like. Obviously, it's a tower getting struck by lightning with 2 people falling out of it. So, the description. It's the 16th Trump Tower, sorry. I mean, I always, every time I see this, I think of Trump Tower. I think of, because there's a crown being knocked off the top of it, as you can see. I think of Trump Tower, and I also think of 9/11. I can't help it. The tower depicts, oh, my reading glasses. The tower depicts a fortress-like construction such as one sees in what is left of medieval Europe today. So it's a decrepit old medieval tower. A ruin, not a rune, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Of what is of today, the tower is being struck by lightning or is in flames or falling down. And the Weight deck, which is the Weight Rider deck, which is what I use for my readings. It's the basic classic tarot deck that you see all the time. The most popular. The tower has a crown that is being blown off. And by the way, if you're to get into tarot, that's the one I would suggest. The tower has a crown that is being blown off by the fiery impact. Human figures are being thrown out of the windows by the blast. The implication is that the forces of heaven are angry and attacking the structure from which flaming debris is flying out in all directions. Can you see why there's some concern when I pull that card, you know? Of like, should I join this shit? You know? So, mythologically, the tower is linked with the Old Testament story of the Tower of Babel, which we all know the whole story of that. Maybe we'll have to do a deep dive episode on the Tower of Babel, because I do like to read the Bible and talk about it sometimes. I've done several Bible episodes, which was a massive structure intended to reach all the way up to God in his heaven. The lightning is also connected to the Greek god Zeus, known for his tendency when angry to throw huge bolts of lightning, which, by the way, Zeus and God, Jehovah, Yahweh, I really think they're honestly the same fucking god, in my opinion. Saturn. I think a lot of these gods and goddesses, like, people argue all the time with each other, and I think a lot of them are amalgamations. Yeah, most of them are the same gods and goddesses, you know. Christianity comes from paganism. Lightning, of course, strikes suddenly, quickly, and sometimes unexpectedly, and can cause serious damage. or it can be viewed as a celestial work of art. Who has not who has not been mightily awed when viewing an impressive display of heavenly fire? Aware? Also known as La Maison Dieu, the House of God, in the Falling Tower, or the Tower of Destruction. The tower corresponds to the number 16 and to the Hebrew letter Ayin. A-Y-I-N. I'm not Jewish. I'm not a Hebrew. I don't practice Kabbalah, so I don't really know enough about that. Maybe we'll have to look into that if we have time. The interpretation of the card. Like the Death card and the Devil, the Tower tends to strike alarm and fear into anyone in whose reading it appears. Like with me last night. I was like, okay, I'm putting away the cards, I'm putting away the app, I'm not filling it out. At least not tonight. I'm still going to think about it. And honestly, I'm going to see what's going on in life. If the opportunity arises, if I choose to do it. I don't know. We shall see. I'm still debating. And indeed, many writers place a totally negative meaning on this card, which is wrong. These writers are usually coming from an old-fashioned religious point of view that believes the wrath of God will descend on sinners. And I think that has a lot to do with it, because, I mean, you guys know my upbringing. My dad was a preacher. I was raised in a very fear-mongering Christian household. I was terrified all the time. Like, I remember praying compulsively, paranoid of hell, paranoid of accidentally blaspheming the Holy Spirit because of intrusive thoughts, you know. It was not a happy upbringing. I have a lot of mental struggles that I deal with because of Christianity, you know. Hence why I despise it, honestly. I think it's abusive and disgusting and horrible. Just my opinion. But it's hard to get that fucking dogma out of you. That paranoia out of you. It's like once it's ingrained as from birth, it's like it's super hard. I still deal with it sometimes today. You know. The actual meaning is psychological and spiritual. The tower does not represent ruin and devastation, although its appearance does herald swift and dramatic change, sometimes shocking and extremely upsetting, as mentioned in the Uranus sidebar. Those people who most devoted to hanging on to the status quo will be the most affected. So, like, honestly, it kind of is relevant. Like, if I did join Freemasonry, like, my life would change. You know, it's a spiritual path. Yeah, things would change. The old me would be struck by lightning and crumbled down, metaphorically. What was it? Lucifer fell like lightning from heaven. Sorry. However, the person has usually brought the situation on him or herself, which I kind of did by initiating, like, hey, how do I get in? You know? How do I join? So I brought it on myself. These feelings of, I wouldn't say nervousness. I'm not scared. I'm just cautious. But I'm very cautious of everything, you know, when it's a huge life decision. By ignoring or denying something that is rotten in their lives and needs reconstructing or deconstructing, which Freemasonry is. What they say is it's making good men better. I mean, it's an initiation process, and as someone who's been an occultist for years and, you know, been in different schools of thoughts, yeah, you change as a person studying this stuff. Whether for the good or bad, that's the path you choose, you know. When we refuse to acknowledge that we need to make changes, we invite attention from the gods in the form of drastic measures. Do the gods smile upon me, or do they strike me down with lightning? Ordinarily, the ready is already well aware of a pressing need to make changes, but is steadfastly refusing to take the necessary action. which I do fall guilty of that. My wife can tell you. Like, I will literally be getting pushed out from a job because they're too scared to fire me, and I'm too scared to quit. And then I just end up either getting fired or quitting and, like, finding another job. Which I've always said that if you're doing something wrong, the bosses should tell you what you're doing wrong, you know. Then bam, along comes circumstances such as losing a job or getting a divorce. Knock on wood, I don't think that's going to happen with me and Sammy. I think we're doing just fine, you know. Having an accident or a financial setback, which is always concerning, that forces the person to get into reality check mode instead of stubbornly looking everywhere but where the problem lies. There's no question this card signifies the crumbling of an old and outworn structure and demands that you begin to deal seriously with your life, collapsing all around you instead of, like Nero, fiddling while your house burns. Which, by the way, Nero is my favorite Caesar, but fiddles weren't even invented yet at the time, so that whole story of him fiddling while Rome burnt is like rubbish. But I mean, it is like a cool sounding story of just this madman playing the fiddle as Rome burns, but 'tis rubbish. Any number of possibilities exist: breaking off an unsatisfactory or destructive relationship, quitting a stifling, non-creative job, casting off false materialistic values, confrontation of some long-buried issues of guilt and shame, shucking the social conventions that limit your progress, selling your mortgage-ridden house and living more simply, ridding yourself of burdensome possessions. The list is endless. But the ready nearly always knows what the issue is, and has once confronted by the tower can acknowledge that he or she is being imprisoned by a self-created fortress, whether for protection, safety, or fear of facing the unknown. That's where I kind of disagree with this a little bit. Like, obviously, if I join Freemasonry, there's going to be a lot of quote-unquote work involved. There is that part of it of, like, am I going to have time to fucking be doing homework over here? I mean, I don't know. It's not a laziness thing. It's just simply like, I enjoy podcasting. Like, this is my main focus right now. I don't know. I have, like I said, there's no rush. I have time to think about this unless, bam, I get struck by lightning. Metaphorically. The message of the tower is that you must either destroy the old structures before they destroy you, or submit to them being shattered by seemingly outside forces which you have actually created yourself. Which I disagree with that as far as like outside sources. I had to quit my previous job, which I made more money, because they were treating me like shit. I had to leave my old apartment and move here because the rent doubled. So I don't know. The whole outside forces of it's your fault. I kind of disagree with that shit, you know. In order to grow and reach enlightenment, in the wake of the chaos, a new order will grow. Dun dun dun. Which was unsound, will come tumbling down so that you can pick and choose among the rubble to decide what is worth saving, and from that, rebuild your life in accordance with who you truly are. So that's the tower. That's what I pulled, and now you see why I have great concern. So let's get into this application a little bit, because I'm just curious. I haven't had time to look over it, and I didn't want to look over it at work with my nosy coworker. So the top part looks like it's for whoever is signing off on this. Yeah, I'm the petitioner, so I would sign the lower stuff, but we'll still read it. Having conceived a favorable opinion of the ancient and honorable fraternity of free and accepted Masons, and a sincere desire of being serviceable to my fellow creatures, unbiased by friends and uninfluenced by mercenary motives, I do freely and voluntarily offer myself as a candidate for initiation into the mysteries of your time-honored institution, and if elected, will cheerfully conform to all the ancient and established usages and customs of the fraternity, which I understand are based on the highest principles and moral precepts, and incorporate no unseemly conduct. So now, Kentucky this blank blank. Maybe I do fill that part out. The petitioner will answer each of the following questions fully, print or type, except signature. Do you believe in the existence of God as the creator of all things, and, if accepted, promise to obey the laws and conform to the usages of our ancient and honorable fraternity? Where do you reside? What is your full name? How long have you resided there? How long have you lived in the state of Kentucky? Where have you resided during the past 5 years? What is your present occupation? How long? Most of this is just common stuff. They do ask for a social security number, which is probably for a background check. First responder. Have you pleaded guilty or been convicted of any crime? So yeah, are you married? How many dependents? Give sex and age of your children. That's a little creepy. What's your wife's... I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That one's a little creepy. What's the sex and age of your children? Wife's name, date of birth. Now, the wife's name and date of birth, I do have to say my brother was a Freemason, and, like, they actually, he did tell me, like, they're actually pretty cool on, like, not banging each other's wives. Like, from what he said, I don't fucking know. He's like, yeah, dude, like, they straight up, they're, like, super against that shit. Like, you don't bang another Mason's wife, you know? And I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. Because I've always thought cheating is, like, one of the most disgusting, heinous things you can do to a partner. I've been cheated on a bunch. Honestly, a lot of my relationships, I was with cheaters, and it messes you up here, dude. It, like, changes you. It makes you paranoid and have trust issues, and in a way, it punishes your future partners. Have you previously applied for Mason lodges? Do you believe, or have you ever believed in the overthrow of the government of the United States of America by force or infiltration, or been a member of an organization who advocates the same? I mean, the punk movement. We were kind of cool with overthrowing the government. Were we organized? Kinda, not really. I mean, we weren't, like, strapping up with guns and shit, but, yeah, I mean, we honestly were very anarchistic, you know. Have you held membership in the Order of De Molay? If you don't know, De Molay is, like, the Boy Scouts of Freemasonry. Yeah, William Cooper has a famous story of that's how he got top secret clearance. Was when he joined the Navy, they asked him, have you ever been a member of De Molay? And he's like, yeah. And they automatically gave him top secret, like, clearance because of that. And he's like, whoa, okay. Because honestly, and it makes sense because it teaches you, like, I was a member of Royal Rangers, so there wasn't any secrecy. But De Molay, they're teaching your kids, like, how to keep secrets and shit. Which can be a good thing, but it could be a bad thing. Because there are certain things of, like, hey, we need to keep that on the DL, you know? Yeah. So, of course, they would be like, yeah, you've learned as a kid, man. Like, you're initiated, man. Like, you know how to keep secrets, so we're going to give you clearance. Having expressed the desire to become a Freemason, we presume you are wilfing to consider thoroughly the step you propose to take. The exact nature of our institution being unknown to you, we deem it advisable that you should be informed on certain points, the knowledge of which may affect your decision to apply for membership. Freemason interferes neither with religion nor politics, but has its foundation the great basic principles of the fatherhood of God and brotherhood of man. No atheist can be a Freemason. Freemasonry strives to teach a man the duty he owes to God, but his neighbor and himself. So the whole point of the Freemasonry thing, it reminds me of Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, now they have Alcoholics Anonymous groups that you can be an atheist. They have like their own special name. I joined the one where you believe in God, or at least a higher power. Same concept with Freemasonry. As far as I know, they've always said, like, you have to believe in God. Now, what that God is, that's up to you. Some people are like, oh, it's Lucifer. I mean, it can be Lucifer if that's your God. It could be Yahweh. It could be Buddha. It could be Allah. It could be Krishna, And they actually do. Years ago when I was agnostic, I wanted to join French Freemasonry, and my brother's like, no, you got to join the real one. Because French Freemasonry it's one of those random, weird Freemasonic branches that everyone there is atheist or agnostic, which is interesting. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on French Freemasonry one day. It includes the practice of virtue and makes an extensive use of symbolism in its teachings. It cannot be too strongly emphasized that Freemasonry is not to be entered in the hope of personal gain or advancement. So it's just for spiritual growth, is what they're saying in this application. It's not, a lot of people join Freemasonry wanting personal gain of like, oh, I could, rub shoulders with the elites of this town and move up in this town. It could, and here I am, a lowly gas station worker, but I could be hanging out with judges and, police commissioners if I go to these meetings or join, It's very interesting. Admission thereto must be sought from mercenary or unworthy motives. The aim of the true Freemason is to cultivate a brotherly feeling among men and help whomever he can. So, our ancient and honorable fraternity welcomes to its doors and admits to its privileges worthy men of all faiths, creeds, and of every race, which they used to not do until Prince Hall. Then they finally like, okay, we can allow black people. It's the truth. Go look it up. They used to be like, nah, dude. Well, I mean, look at Albert Pike, dude. Albert Pike was 33rd. Like, the dude created the KKK, so is anyone surprised? That was his little group, who believed in a supreme being, as stated in our degrees and lectures, and whereas there is no reference to the exclusion of any petitioner with regard to race, creed, and or faith in any of the accepted rituals and or monitors authorization for use within the constituent lodges chartered by the Grand Lodge of Kentucky, F and AM, and whereas it's incumbent upon the Brotherhood to abide by the laws, rules, regulations, and edicts of the Grand Lodge of Kentucky, F and AM, I hereby authorize the Masonic Lodge, to which I have submitted a petition for the 3 degrees of Freemasonry, so all the way up to Master, to contact any company or individual they deem appropriate to investigate my background, criminal, and civil court. So damn, they dive into civil court history, character, and qualifications. I hereby certify on my honor that all these answers are true and correct, and that I have read, understood, and agree with all statements made on this application form. Any false statements given on this petition shall render it null and void. Interesting stuff. Spooky, spooky. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should I join? Should I just take the leap and join and see what's up, what's going on? I'm interested just to know what it's all about. If it's what everyone says it is, you know. But it is spooky, and it is a little nerve-wracking. So if you're listening on Spotify, I get to choose 2 related episodes. I will choose a tarot-related one. When I get on YouTube, I need to create, honestly, a whole playlist of tarot, cartomancy, that type of stuff, if that's what you're interested in. So if you're listening on Spotify, I'll put on a related episode some form of tarot episode, and then some form of Freemason episode. Yeah. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Take a poll. If you're on Spotify, I'll put a question up there. Take the poll. Oh, I'm almost at the 500 subscribers on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 500. I've been working at this channel for a decade, so. And I'm almost there. I want to get there, man. Love y'all. Have a good day.